Okay, today I'm going to be going over some barbell back exercises. So really to start it off, I figured we would begin with a bent over barbell row. It's essentially a staple, I would say, of barbell back movements. So your traditional bent over barbell row, you're going to be probably just outside a shoulder width grip as far as where exactly you are from that shoulder width to a little, wider. Go with whatever feels comfortable, whatever feels right, kind of whatever you believe is helping you get that maximum back engagement through the movement. So you can play around a little bit to see what feels right for you. But essentially, from there, now you're probably, if you're doing it at a gym or maybe even at home, you might have a rack to lift it out of. I do have a rack behind me, but I'm just doing it off the floor just in case you don't. So essentially what you'd want to do, if you are coming from the floor, is kind of deadlift it up and then hip hinge forward, coming just below your knee, and then just rolling straight up and back. The big thing to remember with any rowing movement is that you're actually leading with your elbow. So it's really focusing on driving that elbow back, whether you do a dumbbell row, barbell row, whatever it is. The focus is driving the elbow back, not pulling the bar up to your body. With the wrong, focus in pulling the bar up to your body, the tendency is it becomes a bicep dominated movement where you start doing something more like this. And if you notice with that, my elbow isn't really moving a lot. There's a lot of elbow flexion, but the actual range of motion, you don't really see a lot of, upper arm movement. It's a lot more, lower arm movement and a lot of elbow flexion, but I'm not getting that range of motion, through my shoulder, which means I'm not really engaging my back, or at least very minimally engaging my back. Whew. Sorry, just worked out. I'm talking too fast. So that's going to be one of the big things you want to focus on, is just really driving those elbows back, scapular retraction, squeezing everything back and up. Even if you're not trying to get the lat engagement, you're still, if you're coming out wide, you're still driving those elbows up and back. And there might not be the same scapular retraction there, but it's still pulling through those back muscles as opposed to just pulling pulling with your bicep to pull the bar out to your body. So it's not about the bar moving as much as it's about engaging your back muscles to move the weight. So even a little bit more incomplete range of motion, where maybe you're not coming all the way up to your body, as long as it's the maximum range of motion you can do, engaging your back, that is appropriate. I would recommend you work on a range of motion where you can actually pull all the way there, but whole other thing, and I'm getting off tangent. So that's a traditional barbell bent over row. Now there's two very simple variations to this one. The first one, for me, the first one, because it's what I do more often, is going to be a supinated bent over barbell row. So essentially the same setup, except your palm is going to be facing up, and I usually grip a little bit closer on this one because it is typically going to be a little bit more of a lat dominated movement. So with that, you're here, again just below the knees, driving those elbows up and back. And then the final variation is going to be a little bit less flat and a little bit more of the rest of your upper back musculature. So more teres, rhomboid, mid-trap, all those things, not as much lat engagement. And that's going to be a wide grip bent over row. So pronated again, but you're going to go a bit wider. I usually recommend anywhere from where you would be gripping for a conventional length bench press to a little bit wider. Some people go as wide as a snatch grip. I usually don't, but you could, depending on if you're feeling, good muscle recruitment in, those upper back muscles while you're doing it. The wider the better isn't necessarily accurate. You have to make sure, especially for, your lever arms and everybody has a little bit different muscle recruitment through these different ranges of motion because we're not all built identical. So you have to make sure that you're feeling it where you need to be feeling it. But for me, it's usually going to be a similar grip is where I might do, a wider grip bench press. So that's going to be maybe a finger grip or two wider than I would do a bench press. And then it's going to be a pretty similar thing, except your elbows are kind of staying a little more flared out and driving up and back. So that's going to be it for your standard bent over barbell row.